All right, Tuba Cat, back with you once again. This is number 148 in harmony. If you haven't played through the concert B flat major scale with me, number 147, go ahead and head back there. There's some new information in there that you upper grade people might not know about, right? I kind of elaborate a bit and I expand on what a major scale is, how to identify it, all that stuff. So if you want to go back and check that out first, go ahead and do that before we focus on harmonies. Now, in this case, we have chords and arpeggios. Okay, a lot of us have already played arpeggios because in this book and in our warm-up packets, we have scales and arpeggios written out in our daily exercises. So, chord, I'm going to tell you now, it's just when 3 or more notes are being played at the same time. So in this case on a piano, right, 1, 2, 3, that's a chord. If I play them at the same time, right, they all land together. However, if I do this, is that a chord? No, that's an interval. There's only 2 notes involved when we're playing intervals. You have to have 3 or more notes, right? If I go like this, is that a chord? Yes, it's a chord. Chords can be made up from any notes. It doesn't matter as long as there's 3 or more of them. I can go like this. There's a chord right there, right? If I go... those are chords as well. Just know that it's 3 or more being played at the same time, okay? So, there's a description of chords and arpeggios above. When 2 or more notes are being played together, they form a chord or harmony. Harmony is another way of identifying the interval. So really to play chords, you have to have 3 or more notes. This B flat chord is built from the 1st, 3rd, and 5th, right? And that's typical. That's pretty common. You'll see that the 1st, 3rd, and 5th note of the major scale we just played, again, if you haven't gone through with me, please go back and check that out. Number 1, number 3, and number 5, right? On the first measure of 148, we have them stacked up and it has the word chord above it. Okay, now it's spelled chord, but we pronounce it chord. And it's written like a divisi. Now, a divisi is when you divide parts on one sheet of paper. So you have the 1st, 3rd, and 5th note of the scale. That creates a B flat major chord. And that's what that sounds like all together. Now, on your instrument, you're not really going to be able to play chords. If you're a wind instrument, if you're a bells player, you can play some chords. You can play those arpeggios, and the way your instrument rings will make it sound like a chord. So you could experiment with that. And if you have a piano at home, percussionist, and you don't have your bells at home, then play on the piano right now. Now, continuing on from the description, the 8th step is the same as the 1st, right? And we went over that in our scale, right? We call that the octave. Now, but it is an octave higher, right? An arpeggio is a broken chord, right? So they're not being played at the same time. You are taking those same 3 notes, but you're playing them in order on their own, which you can do on your instrument. It's called an arpeggio. Usually you'll take the 1st, 3rd, and 5th note of the scale, play them in that order. That's called the B flat major arpeggio. All right, it's broken up. Now, you'll see on measure 3, there's another chord. All right, it's the same chord, but it's not in what we call root position, right? That concert B flat would be at the bottom normally. We call that root position in the 1st measure, but you take that note, you put it an octave higher, all right, and then we would call this 1st inversion. So the 1st note is inverted to be put on the top instead of the bottom. So it's the same chord, but it has a different sort of feel. Here's regular root position B flat major, right? B flat major chord. But if I take this note and put it up here, we're in 1st inversion now. So instead of, now we have, so now it goes 3, 5, 8 instead of 1, 3, 5. You're starting from the 3rd. You're still building up the same numbers within the scale to create that same chord. It's just in first inversion. Now, on the last two measures, you'll have an arpeggio that's pretty much the it's following the chord before. 8, 5, 3, 5, 8, up there. So I want you to go ahead and sight read this on your own, and the way you're going to do this is you're just going to play the root note. So on measure 1, you're going to play your low concert B flat for 4 beats. Then you'll play the arpeggio after. So then after that, you're going to start on whatever your bottom note is there, which in this case it's the third of the scale. So pick the bottom note of whatever chord is stacked up, then continue from there. There's a repeat sign. Go ahead and play this on your own real quick. Sight read it. Then I'll play with you, okay? Go ahead and pause the video. Tuba cat. Hey, good sounds. It's important to still try to make a beautiful sound throughout. I know it's like a lot of, we call this music theory practice when we're focusing on technical parts of music that's written on the page. But we could still sustain for full value on all those whole notes and make sure that when we're playing between the quarter notes that we're not taking humongous breaths, right? We don't want, we want, that means constant air through the instrument, right? Always visualize that your air is going through the instrument, and that'll help you sustain. Let's play through the whole thing twice because there's a repeat sign. 1, 2, this is the first note on root position. Ready? So that outlines the chord, and it breaks it apart into an arpeggio. So if I were to play that, and again, my piano is really flat, so what I have to do is I have to pull my tuning slide out so I can be in tune with the piano. Right? Make sure I'm tuning. Maybe a little bit more. Alright, so if I'm playing that over the chord, this is what it would sound like. Then we go on to the first inversion. You hear the difference? In my opinion, the first inversion and when you start inverting chords has sort of a thinner sound overall. So usually when you have, like in this case, the concert B flat, if it's in root position, if it's like the foundation of the chord, then it really rounds out the sound. But if you take that root note and you put it up an octave higher, then you get kind of like a lighter sound, maybe thinner, right? So this versus this, right? Right, so maybe a kinder sound. However you want to interpret that light feel is up to you. So play through again with me if you wish. Tomorrow it's going to be the scale and the arpeggio together. Oh, I'm sorry, no, tomorrow's Freaky Friday. So I've got a surprise for you, and you'll see it tomorrow. So thanks for being with us today, everybody, and keep on playing that instrument. We got like about a month of school left from home. So hang in there, keep playing that horn, and I'll see you tomorrow. See ya.